What's up, everybody? I'm Jason. This is Freebird Garage, and we are back on the FXRT fairing. Let's just jump to it. Let's get some work done. First off, I want to say thanks anyone that commented in the last video trying to help me, give me feedback on the parts I was trying to piece together. Thank you. That actually helps out quite a bit. Anytime you guys see something that I don't, or if you know something that I don't, it helps out a shit ton trying to piece this together, and especially when I'm racking my brain from the day-to-day trying to get this thing all pieced and using the catalogs that I have that I think worked, but sometimes just don't. And a big help to Zach. He actually reached out to and gave me videos on all of his FXR stuff. He has like both years of the fairings. He's got all the catalogs, so huge help on all that stuff. Appreciate Zach and everyone else that reached out. And this reflects to the part we're working on next is the X bracket here. This is one that him and I actually went back and forth with because of the different years. So this year is supposed to be for 35, all right? Generally the 35 though goes square all the way down. This has a cutout, and like I said from the unboxing, this came from a 94, and there is no part numbers that really reflect this X bracket on here. So I can only go off of what the seller told me, which this came off a 94 FXRP, the police version, which would have had also the older style fairing that was no longer produced for civilians. The fairing that was produced after 86 is the fairing that we have on now, which is totally different, and brackets are not the same. Now the 39 millimeter as well has a different bracket. It's longer, it's skinnier. So we're gonna run this, and if it's short of a distance, just gotta take it apart. So the only thing I could say for now is that we're just going to go with this bracket. Don't know if it's gonna make a difference. The limited travel, turning left and right will be the biggest thing. So if that's the case, I'm just gonna have to buy it then. At least we can get on the bike, figure it out then, but I should hopefully, fingers crossed, maybe we'll get out of it. Probably not. With my luck and this whole thing, I'm just gonna have to take it all apart. But until then, we're gonna get this cleaned up, make it a little bit more pretty. We're gonna use a little scuff on this and then hit it with some good old classic spray paint. The reason why we're using this stuff, this is that enamel black used on like engines. I've used it on my rims. This stuff is awesome when you're doing something that's gonna be beat up. You don't wanna powder coat it. And you also just don't wanna do the full two-part paint job on it. So we're gonna hit with this, and when that's drying, then we're gonna jump over some electrical, but I'm gonna get this cleaned up right now so we get moving on it. All right, so what we wanna do is just break the glaze off this bracket. This is one of my fastest ways I've learned. You pick up this little piece for about $6 to $8. Get yourself a drill. Bam! It's fast, done, and easy. All right. While we wait for paint to dry, we're gonna dive into the rest of the wiring on the fairing. I got it all figured out. Last video I was hung up on this crusty radio and trying to get this pigtail mess figured out and what goes to what. And luckily, going through this, it is still good. We are in the score of the right radio. I was terrified that this is wrong and this whole thing was just gonna be a lost cause of trying to get this radio and stereo system to work. Even though it's ancient, I still want it to work. So, going back into the model number that was on here, punched it in, and it still fits for 92 Harley. Problem is that it fits for an FLH. Now, still goes in the same, and the plugs, thankfully, are the exact same as the FXR for the era. This came from 92 all the way up until they changed it, which was probably like 95. But the plugs in the back, there are a couple extra that aren't needed. So we have our main plug for the antenna, we have our main wiring harness, and then there's two other plugs that are on here that I found out that are still good on our gauge system, and they all connect the same way for the FLH, thankfully. Now, the two extra ones, if you're curious on what FLH's difference is we have this plug right here, and we have this plug right here, and an additional blue plug. And going back through my manuals here, service manuals, I got my 92 manual. There we go, straight up and down, there we go. 92 manual to 93 in our 84 to 90. And in the back, if you like reading messes, there are the wiring diagrams that you can check out there. It's probably not gonna come across very well, but using those, I was able to figure out what wire went to which. And it was a huge help because it literally you just follow the colors and match what goes to what. So the 2 extra wires, the 3 extra wires went to a CB intercom system. So that was a feature that they had on the bikes back in the day. Of course, that's how you intercommed everybody, because you didn't have these fancy SEMA sets going on with everyone's helmets. So that's where the extra plugs went to. All the other plugs are exactly the same as the FXRs. So we're good. We don't have to worry about those. I'm not gonna trim them. The only plug I actually will trim, because we need it for the speakers that are up there, is the additional plug that would have been for the intercom system. I have no intentions, because the FXR never had that to run the intercom. We're going to snip this and hook that into our speakers, because it is a direct plug-in for the speaker plug. All right, hopefully that all makes sense to you. If you're curious on what caused this and what I figured out and what to use, I love figuring it out, because it's all just a good maze of wires, and it all makes sense now. All right, so let's get to snipping and cutting, and we're gonna de-pin this and make it right. All right, first things first, we're going to cut the extra plug wire that fits into our speakers so that it goes in like that. And we need to match those to look like that to connect correctly. All right, so we're gonna chop this off here, and we'll give it a little extra space. There we go. All right, now we need to de-pin these as we see fit. Now there's a tool to do that. I don't have that tool. I probably should have got that before I started this. That's all right. All right. All right, de-pin that one there. We just need to make 4 square out of here, so we just gotta plug the one hole and it will be good to go. Just gotta clean it out. Oof, nasty. All right, and we are going to clean up some of the other wires here. There, and you know what? We'll do this CB1 too. We are ready to wire this on the speakers. We are soldering up our speaker plug, and I should get this right. Red to red, black to black. Simple enough. And I'm gonna pre-twist these wires. Make it a little bit easier on myself. Alright, now we just gotta heat shrink these down. And we are ready to plug in. Well, while we're at it, we're gonna throw the turn signals on first before we do the middle part. If you have an RT original, you know that these are hard to find, and I have a nice set. Super stoked to finally get these on the fairing. Makes the whole difference of it. All right, so let's put it on. Alright, our final pieces here. We got the radio to go in now, finally. Get the mount in. Alright, that looks good. Now the inner mount here. Everything just getting jammed in here. Holy crap, it is tight. Alright, some fresh stainless steel hardware. Gotta remove these 2 tabs here. Radio's in, gauge is in, and we just gotta do the mount here. Okay, let's see. Well then. That's not good. All right, so the beginning video, I talked about whether or not this X bar was going to work, and you just heard me, it doesn't. And the reason why it doesn't fit is the radio. If I didn't run the radio, I could put this on without a problem, but then I'm probably still going to have clearance issues. So this makes a lot more sense of why this is not going to work. So I am going to be on the hunt now for the correct mount. Seen a couple out there and get it scooped up. Everything else though is good. We are solid to get on the bike once I get this mount. The radio is on, they got the gauges, everything matches up. I'm stoked, we got turn signals, everything's there. So we're on the good light of that side of things. Everything's been matched up, fitted. A lot more work putting this together than I actually imagined. I thought it was gonna go smooth in one video, be able to get it all done together, but essentially from here, all we have is glove boxes and all that to be put on, small stuff. But I'm stoked. We are pretty much gonna be putting the X mark on it and then put it on the bike. So there it is, guys. That'll about wraps me on this one. I would greatly appreciate it if you could hit the subscribe button, tap that like, press the notification, leave a comment below and tell what you think. And for those who've already subscribed, thank you. And as always, stay free. And I'll catch you guys later. Peace.